What's up, guys? I'm Agent Orange. Welcome back to another episode of The Orange Rewind, the show where I pick one of my favorite game-changing tracks from the history of techno and house music, give its history, chop it up in the studio to see how it was made, then give an interview with the artist at the end of the video. Stay tuned for that. Today's artist is UMEK, and the track is Lanicor. Let's go. In 1999, UMEK dropped his track Lanicor on the techno world. It seemed to find the perfect blend of cold, hard, fast, and yet strangely melodic vibes all at the same time. Its unique pitch-glided melody sealed its future as a true classic in techno music history. Named after the medical drug Lanicor, which is used to increase heart performance, they have both been known to produce similar side effects, including feelings of confusion, dizziness, feelings of being sick, or changes in your vision. It set a new bar and sound for Balkan techno music. Already making a name for himself on the scene at that time with his hard and heavily syncopated tracks, with releases on labels like Chris Liebing's CLR, Glenn Wilson's Planet Rhythm, and Thomas Schumacher's Spielzeug Schallplatten. Lanicor would be UMEK's first release on his own new label, Consumer Recreation, which he launched out of his hometown of Ljubljana, Slovenia, with his partner, Valentino Canziani. The two would go on to start two more successful labels, Recycled Loops and Irresistible Music, which featured some standout tracks from DJs like Marco Nastic, Mark Antonio, Hertz, and DJ Misha. UMEK went on to become one of the biggest names on the techno scene, consistently touring and releasing top 10 tracks. He has played the biggest festivals on every continent, including Tomorrowland, Ultra, EDC, I Love Techno, and many more. Quoted as saying that he likes to keep things fresh, he has switched up his sound a few times over the years to keep challenging himself and keep having fun with new ideas, doing remixes for Depeche Mode, Parov Stellar, and many others. Even working with rapper Waka Flocka. More recently, he has arrived back to a newer techno sound and also drops a few tracks a year as his electro alter ego, Zeta Reticula. In 2008, he launched his current label, 1605, named after the 16th of May, his birthday. The label has released a huge catalog of great music and has supported many artists. In 2010, 1605 dropped a flaming hot remix of Lanicor by Christian Smith. He brought it up to date while adding his own flair, which Christian is known for. Since its release, Lanicor quickly found its way into the record boxes of DJs Adam Bear, Dave Clark, DJ Hell, Love Parade creator Dr. Mote, and many others. It eventually even got love from trance megaman Tiesto, proving its crossover appeal. Shortly after its initial release, Consumer Recreation released a remix by Andreas Kramer. Let's go to the studio and see what made Lanicor a game changer. After that, stay tuned for an interview with UMEK. Rewind. All right, guys, here we are in the studio. Let's talk about what made Lanicor an absolute game changer. For sure, the synth, the really weird but very cool melodic synth line. So let's set it off. The synth comes in right away. This came from a Waldorf Pulse, the first monosynth that Waldorf ever came out with. And there's a bit of glide at the beginning of that sound. That's how he gets that weirdness. It's filtered down, the cutoff is down, so it's kind of low. You've got the 909 kick, clap, and the 16th note pattern happening. Like a shaker. I've got my TR-8S here with some 909 sounds. I've got the Native Instruments Monarch set up on Ableton. And I've got my SP16 for the sequence. Here we have our 909 kick drum. Here we have our 909 clap. We're working at 142 BPM today. Just like the original, let's lay down our 909 kick drum and 909 clap. Alright, let's lay down this 16th note shaker. Let's layer this on top with a 16-note pattern also, and see what we got. Maybe lower the volume. Next, we've got the synth, the very, very cool synth. So let's see what notes he's using first. Let's play out the pattern. So we've got a C, F sharp, D sharp, and D. Just like that. So here we have it in Monarch. There we go, that's pretty close. So at 34 seconds into the track, the synth is already filtered up and a closed 909 hi-hat comes in. Let's add one of those. Filter up the synth a bit. Fix the glide. I'm gonna fix the glide. So the glide is really an important feature of this sound. So here I'm just detuning the oscillators on the Monarch. We've got 3 oscillators, just like on the Waldorf Pulse, and I'm just basically detuning them to get a similar kind of dissonant sound. Let's try to fix up this sound a bit more here. Fix up these mini notes. So I've added some high notes. Next, we've got a 909 open hat that comes in. That kind of gives a lot of energy there. Let's add some of that. I'm going to program that one in. Alright, so we've got the synth in, we've got these open hats in, and now there is a 909 ride that comes in. And this is like the climax peak moment of the track. We'll add our own. So from this point it kind of breaks down a bit. The hi-hats come out. Just the clap and the synth are rocking here. I almost hear a 909 tom in there, kind of like banging around. Let me see. And then it kind of breaks down again and builds back up again to where the ride is kind of going and everything is kind of peaking. Loop filters up, loop filters down. could add the MS-101 on top just for fun. And then, of course, there's the fill with the 909 snare. Let's get that fill in there. And that's Lanicor, as close as we can get in just a couple of minutes, short amount of time. This track rocks, it's got great energy. The synth drives everything. The bass, there's some low end, maybe percussion like a tom or something. 909 kick, 909 clap, 909 ride, 909 open and close hats. Punchy percussion, drums, punchy drums. A wild sounding synth, very bright in your face, a true techno classic. Now stay tuned for an interview with UMEK.
Rewind.
Hi UMEK, thanks for joining us today.
Hi, how are you?
So Lanicor came out in the year 1999. That was a long time ago. Can you tell us about your journey into music before that point, and DJing that led up to 1999?
Actually, you already chose two of my favorite tracks, of all-time favorite tracks in your video. So one would be Royal House, Can You Party, which was actually an entry point for me into the house and techno. At that time, I didn't even know what kind of style it was. I remember it when it was on MTV, on Party Zone. When I heard it, it was like, wow, what is this? This is something out of space, especially in Slovenia. Imagine that we were a communist country. Electronica was almost non-existent, and then you hear sounds like that. And later on, Red 2 from Dave Clark was something that I was really, really influenced by. And I actually, if you would ask me what is the best techno record in the world, I would say Red 2.
Wow, that's big.
Otherwise, I started more as a DJ who was playing all kinds of electronic stuff. So I was playing from trance, hard trance to acid, techno, all mixed, because back then the scene was again almost non-existing. So we were kind of playing everything. So I am literally influenced from house, from trance, from techno, from all kinds of stuff. And then in '95, I remember when I heard a record from Surgeon on Downwards. It was again that moment of like, wow, what is this? And then I said, this is something that I want to do for the rest of my life. And this is where I focused most of my career on techno.
From there. So that was like 90, 89, 90.
No, the Surgeon...
Surgeon was later, yeah.
Yeah, but I think Royal House was 88, right?
Yeah, it came out 88, yep.
Yeah, but then imagine listening to that track and then trying to find some other housey techno stuff in our country was crazy. So the only or maybe two locations where you could get some of electronics music was to go into CD rental shop, and they owned like maybe 3 compilations of like techno tracks, compilation from Germany, maybe the history of Chicago house and something. So that was something that I rented and then recorded. And later on, I remember, actually probably the same time, there were pirate cassettes were selling actually on the streets of Slovenia.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, the law was not forbidding that. So basically, those pirate guys were actually distributors for all good the music. And from time to time, there was a cassette, because they were selling cassettes, compilations that they made, unofficial ones, and they made like a techno cassette every I don't
Wow.
know, every half a year or something. So that was literally what I was looking for, and being so happy to find that connection with that stuff.
That's
It was
cool.
really hard, like really hard. Even later on, we didn't have any record shops to buy vinyls, so we had to drive to Munich.
Wow.
So we were driving 500 kilometers every 2-3 weeks to buy those vinyls, and it was so special for us. So now when I see it, I wouldn't have it any other way. You know,
That's cool.
it was a struggle to get records. So when we went to Munich, then we just dig in to records and browsing through all these 3 record shops for hours and hours, and then we had to drive back home 500 kilometers. There was no money for staying in hotels and stuff like that. So it was just
Right.
like getting out buying records.
I think that could definitely give you like a different appreciation, you know, that you had to go to that length to get the stuff. That's pretty cool.
I mean, there's this thing that maybe it's just my imagination, but like especially at DJs from ex-Yugoslavia, I can say this for me: Valentino Conciani, Marko Nastic, Dan Milicevic, then the Bosnian guy Siniša Tamamović and Mladen Tomic. I think we are all really good technically how we play, and that's the reason, because we had to play on a really destroyed and bad equipment, you know, installed in all these clubs. So they were just throwing us in a DJ booth, and like you couldn't say, I want to have a decent deck and a mixer. No, you played on
Whatever's
anything
there.
that was there. So
Right.
yeah, the conditions were so bad, monitors were so bad. So yeah, this is how we practice in a really rough environment, and I think this is why we learned to play on 3, on 4 decks, and doing this is why we could do it so fluently.
That's the Balkan way for sure.
It was the hard way, but I think this is why the passion is so big with DJs like here, and this is what we spread for many years now.
Awesome. What were you trying to achieve, or what were you thinking about when you wrote Lanicor?
So basically, at that time, I was just recording stuff live and on the fly. I probably record 3 or 4 tracks that day. So I still have hundreds of hours of unreleased stuff, which is similar to early stuff, and probably there's some other stuff which sounds like Lanicor. And
Cool.
I remember what I was using. I was using this.
Oh, cool. Wow.
The knob is actually, I just broke knob like a few days ago, but it's how I made it was with Paul's Waldorf. And what I was thinking I want to have this aggressive synth line with the driving 909 patterns, and actually that's it. It's quite minimalistic if you think. So basically, this was the main line, and I don't even know if there is a bass beneath. So it might be just like 909s and the Waldorf. Might be just that.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds so full. I mean, I think, yeah, that's another thing. Back in the day, you had limited stuff. So, you know, not a billion plugins. So you kind of had to make the most of it.
Yeah, back in the days, there was literally just like those rhythm machines and synths and 2 hands. And sometimes if the arrangement was a little bit more complicated, then I borrowed other hands from a DJs, from friends of mine, and you know I was kind of orchestrating in the mixer, and then 909 turning the hi-hats like decay and sustain and stuff like that, tuning it up and down, rights, and I don't know. And then some friends came in and they were like disconnecting and connecting some other stuff, but that actually came later. With this, with Lanicor, I recorded it on my mixer, Spirit Live. Was it Soundcraft, I think?
Okay.
Probably on a really cheap Alesis speakers.
Okay.
The studio was not really not isolated, treated really well. So yeah, I mean, it was what it was. You know, we tried to do as good as possible in that. In that era, and it was quite tough to make music, but I managed to make one of biggest hits I have in my career in the most unfriendly environment. I mean, yeah, really, you should see the room. There were like these like small trains, you know, all around, and
really?
a couch, and it was an old house, which like everything was so uneven and strange, but still, passion was there. I wanted to do the music. And I still remember when Valentino Canziani came to the studio. He said, "Wow, this is hit. You're gonna have a hit record." I said, "Eh." Like it's just another tune, I mean, it's another tune. I like it. It's obviously good, but nothing special. And then I remember Dave Clark was playing in Ambasada Gavioli, in our national treasure of in Slovenia, the amazing club. And I couldn't attend that gig because I was playing somewhere else. And I had a friend who was a regular in Ambasada Gavioli, so he gave him the white label, and he played it straight away.
Wow.
And he loved it. Like, he really loved it. He played it then on, I don't know, all these big raves, and he actually put it on Fuse compilation that he did. And the rest is history.
That's awesome. So what did you sequence it on? Did you do it off of the 909, or did you have Cubase, or?
Actually, this was an arpeggiator of built-in arpeggiator in Waldorf Pulse. It's actually a really cool arpeggiator, nothing special, but it's just the way how I played it. I kind of every kick I changed the note, and it's quite a long melody, 8 bars or 16, 4 bars, something like that. And then the arpeggiator is just going up and down and left and right, and then there's a slight. Quite a lot of glide on that. And
I noticed.
This is actually the signature sound of the Pulse that I've done, and I used it later on some other production as well on Spielzeug. I think I've done probably 15 records with Waldorf Pulse or more.
Nice. Yeah, it's cool that you still kept it, that you hung on to it.
But I'm actually gonna sell it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a thing that I want to do, and the purists will be mad now. So basically, I sold all my equipment, hardware, and I kept like few pieces, like that stuff that I was that I made the most records with, and now I decided to sell everything to prove that you can be completely in the box in even on a laptop and headphones, and you can make big tracks. So this is my statement. Probably I'm going to be sorry
it's about the hands, like you said.
I'm going to be sorry in 10 years' time that I sold all the stuff, the SE1 from Studio Electronics. That's the scene that I made a lot of tracks with as well. But that's just a thing that I do.
Where was your favorite crowd reaction that you ever witnessed to Lanicor, and was it during one of your own DJ sets or someone else's?
Yeah, Lanicor was that track that you could hear it like few times a night when you were at the rave. The best feeling was like maybe half a year after it was released, and I could play it in my sets, and then going and see people going bananas, just going crazy, and then something that nothing can replace that. It's so amazing. And still now, when I do the classic set, and I played, especially when I played in Slovenia, because it's like a raver's anthem over here.
For sure.
And when I play, it is like 5,000 hands in the air, and they just go bananas, and that's something that's unbeatable, really.
That's fantastic. In the year 2010, you released a fantastic remix of Christian Smith of Lanicor on your current label, 1605. How did that come about?
Christian really loved the original, and he was always trying to do a remix, and I didn't have any parts. I forgot how I made that sound because I didn't turn my Waldorf Pulse for I don't know how many years, more than 10 years.
Right.
And I was thinking like, how do I recreate it? I don't know if I should. And then he recreated it on synths, and then obviously said yes, let's release it and see how it's gonna be. And it turned out really cool.
Yeah, I think he got pretty close with the parts that he came up with the stems. Yeah.
I mean, it's with the sound. I mean, a lot of people were trying to recreate it. Nobody really succeeded. If we go really into details, but otherwise, this is a mono synth, and then it's just it's just a matter of the source, and then the arpeggiator, and turning the glide, and you get those crazy sounds. I remember when I was recording the records later, which were actually really successful as well. I did this very similar thing, and it was like a preset. I already knew what to do so quickly that those tracks were done in literally in half an hour from recording it and then like master it and everything. It was so easy. But now when you ask me, it's like, how did I do it? How did I did it? You know, it's kind of, I mean, it's like how many, 20 years ago or more.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I was a different person then, definitely. Like when I think of how I approached the music back then and how I approach it right now, it's different. And I got asked a lot of times if I could do like some old school stuff for more underground labels. They were really trying to get me on board, and I tried, but there back then I didn't have such a musical knowledge, and in some ways that's not even a good thing. But like some detuning and having drums out of tune actually made those tracks more original. These days we polish everything so crazy. So different time, different UMEK, different love.
For sure. And I think less sneakers back then, right?
Oh yeah, way less sneakers. But still, I always owned a lot of sneakers, but not as much.
How did you get into sneaker collecting?
Sneaker collecting, it's actually a pretty typical story to kind of any sneaker collector, I would say. So I was back in the days, I was a basketball player, quite successful one, and then when I was 17 years old, I stopped playing basketball. But as I'm not coming from a rich family, my mom could afford me just certain pairs of sneakers, which were not bad, but Jordan sneakers were always something that I was dreaming about. And we didn't wear Jordans in Slovenia. Not a lot of people could afford them because they were costing about almost like an average Slovenian salary back there. And even the distribution didn't have them, so it's kind of, and then I remember Klemen Zaletel. He was our Slovenian national team player. He was always playing in camps in States during the summer, and then he came with Jordan 2, Jordan 5, and we were just like, whoa, what is that, And I fell in love with Jordan 5, and I remember in 2006, I went to a consignment shop in Miami. Now it's not existing. It doesn't exist anymore. And for the first time in my life, I paid a resale price, not a retail one, and I bought a Jordan 5 red
Nice.
fire red, and this was something that I was like, wow, and this is where my sneaker collecting journey starts. And yeah,
cool.
I'm spending a lot of time finding right pairs.
That's cool. Do you have any current or upcoming projects that you'd like to talk about?
I just released a sample pack on Loopmasters, which is full of foundations. It's called Techno Foundations. Story behind that sample pack was like, it's the struggle that I have. It's always like, I want to find that kick, that sound that we're all searching for. And I said, okay, I'm going to make some amazing kicks, hi-hats, bass lines, and percussions. And this is all that producers need. Obviously, I added some melodies, but they are in the not in the, how do you say? They are in the second plan, in not the main idea behind it, but I still just to show that how it could be done. But yeah, focusing on kicks, hi-hats, snares, it's actually doing really good on Loopmasters. Cool. Then I'm gonna have a release with Mark Reeve on 1605.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming out end of this. No, it's actually coming out in 3 weeks, not in December. Then another Desiderati compilation where I'm going to have a track in December. Then another one in January, another EP in January. Then I did a few bootlegs. Yeah, as well, I'm doing these one-on-one courses where I teach young producers technique that I use in production. That's going really well. So yeah, I'm busy. I really am busy doing stuff in the studio. Kind of I don't know how to say this. It's kind of a distraction from this COVID disaster that it's happening all around the world. So I am in my happy place in my studio. And then when I come out and I go to the streets wearing mask, I don't feel that happy.
Fair enough. Yeah. I
am kind of sad because I've seen a lot of DJs and producers. They had to go back to their daily job to pay the bills, and I think this is going to have such a big impact on our culture. We're going to lose a lot of producers who just started to be a professional producers and DJs, and they were bringing the quality up with the production, and they just had to go back to their daily job, and it's sad. It's super sad.
It is. Maybe it's a small hiccup, I think, like they say, it might make you stronger, whatever doesn't kill you make you stronger.
It's a hiccup for established artists which can afford to lay low and just wait for the better times. But as I told you, the guys who were like just going their professional way into the music business then and going back to their daily jobs, who knows when they'll be able to go full time into production, and I think it's have a super effect on everything, and not in a good way.
Can you feel it?
I can, man. From 88.
Awesome. Yeah.
Since 88.
Since 88. I think we're the same age. You're born in 76, right?
Exactly. 76.
Yeah. So that's why I think a lot of the same classics have the same kind of nostalgia to us.
But yeah, you were lucky. You were in the middle of that, where the things were happening. Oh, and I was in the middle of nothing.
Yeah, the 80s, man, it was exciting in New York with, hip hop just blowing up everywhere, and then house music in Chicago and New York. It was pretty exciting. It was.
80s is the era which is quite exciting. I think this is the era, obviously, where the electronic synths and instruments came in heavily.
Right.
And this is where all the synth-orientated music was written for the first time. So, obviously it was written even before, but like this synth-orientated stuff was written then. So this is why it's so memorable, and those melodies stayed for such a long time, and they will stay there for forever. And yeah, some cool stuff was made in the 80s.
Agreed, man. Cool. Well,
thank you for having me.
I wish you lots of luck and a successful exit from this crazy situation that we're in.
Thank you. Same to you, man. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Rewind.
Hey guys, hope you enjoyed that episode of the Orange Rewind. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to hit subscribe, and don't forget to drop a comment below with song suggestions for future episodes. I'm your host, Agent Orange. Until next time, stay young, love techno.